The state of Michigan is pushing for a new assault weapons ban, but the language is very vague. Welcome to another installment of the Connecticut Gun Bench. Today's video is brought to you by P.A.N. Firearms, LLC, P.A.N. Firearms, your NRA certification, and multifaceted gun training. You can reach us at 203-300-6343 or use our website at www.panfirearmsllc.com. As always, there'll be a link in the description box below. And let's talk about this. Now, the state of Michigan, for their legislative year 2022, a bill has been introduced, or two House bills. One is 6545 and 6546. Basically alludes to an assault weapons ban. It was introduced by Jeffrey Pepper, the Democrat out of Dearborn. But the language in it has caused some concern. I'm going to come right into here. This is from the Western Journal. Now, this is more of a commentary, so it's going to be the position of the writer. But it does definitely lay out some of the groundwork to where I stated that this is vague language. Okay. And title, how many of your firearms will be illegal under gun ban bill's new definition for assault weapon? Democrats in Michigan are pushing a new gun control bill that would ban the sale and manufacture of what they term assault weapons. But the definition of assault weapon seems to be very vague and loose. On December 1st, Michigan House Democrats announced that State Rep. Jeffrey Pepper had introduced House Bill 6544, which would completely ban the sale and manufacture of assault weapons beginning in 2024. Pepper and House Democrats claim that this bill is necessary in order to curb the epidemic of gun violence that is sweeping the nation. So the state of Michigan has decided that they're going to pass this thing to prevent or to curb gun violence. Time and time again, we have seen that gun bans do not prevent gun violence. It seems to just be a losing cause on their part, but they continue to push these things. Quote, if the federal government won't reinstate the automatic weapons ban. Now, if that's what he immediately, of course, those of you just raised an eyebrow. Okay, there's a huge difference between semi-automatic and automatic. We all know that there's an automatic weapons ban from the Firearms Owner Protection Act of 1986, but that drastically reduced gun violence in the 90s. Pepper said, then it's time we take it into our own hands. Now, we know that violence in general, up until 2020, had been on the decline. But the question, of course, is what exactly do the Michigan House Democrats mean by the term assault weapon? After all weapons are meant to assault, so the term itself seems remarkably redundant. What weapons would be banned under the proposed bill, and what weapons would citizens be allowed to possess? Unfortunately, as it is written, House Bill 6544 is incredibly vague and loose with its definition of an assault weapon. According to the bill, an assault weapon is defined as a semi-automatic rifle that has the ability to set the detachable magazine and has one or more of the following characteristics. In a nutshell, these characteristics include any grip or shroud that allows the shooter to hold the weapon with the non-trigger hand or has a folding or telescopic stock. These characteristics are not clearly defined and sounds as if the House Democrats are merely regurgitating talking points from CNN or MSNBC about certain features that make guns scary. This is an incredibly dangerous bill. Therefore, as it potentially leaves the door open for Democrats to ban more guns than it initially appears are covered by the bill. One could potentially argue that any gun that could possibly be held with two hands is illegal under the definition of an assault weapon found in this bill. Just as disconcertingly, a rifle that can have a detachable magazine and ability to add an attachment that would include any number of legally obtained guns in America. That is hardly a restrictive set of prerequisites. With a definition this loose, who knows how many guns the Democrats could argue fall under prohibitions laid out in this bill. But aside from the unconstitutional and authoritarian nature of this proposal, there is the simple fact that history has shown time and time again that these gun control measures simply do not work at reducing gun violence. In last month's election, voters in Oregon voted in favor of Measure 114, which outlawed magazines that hold more than 10 rounds and directs police departments to collect biometric database of firearm permits and divert resources towards firearm training. This law was immediately cried by several sheriffs in the state who argued that it did not address the actual reasons that gun violence takes place and diverted valuable police resources from fighting crime to policing the actions of law-abiding citizens. Meanwhile, some states such as Illinois and New York, which have some of the most restricted gun laws in the country, saw mass shootings in the past year after criminals were able to cleverly get around the state's laws. The fact of the matter is simply making these types of guns illegal will not stop mass shootings. Criminals will not be deterred by the fact that these guns are illegal and will find ways to get around them. If we really want to solve the issue of gun violence in our nation, we need to address the deep societal problems that encourage people to engage in gun violence. Punishing law-abiding citizens by restricting their Second Amendment rights only distracts from those issues and does nothing to solve the problem. Okay. Once again, it's a fool's errand to then decide that we're just going to ban a class of weapons from people who will follow the rules, while you're not addressing the criminal element. And that is the biggest problem and the biggest issue with any of these attempts at gun control. They never address the criminal element, ever. Not one of these addresses that. The only thing they're talking about here is we're just going to ban a class of weapons while the criminals are just out doing what they do. And we know for a fact, that these so-called assault weapons are not used in these gun crimes as much as other firearms, specifically handguns. Now, of course, if this were to go through, it would immediately, go under legal scrutiny and lawsuits will be filed. And we have numerous assault weapons ban cases that are coming before the courts. So this will be another one that's just going to fall right into it. It's going to be a waste of time and a waste of money. As I've stated before in other videos, that every time a state makes moves like this to ban specific firearms, the Supreme Court has stepped in and said, you can't do that. So this is another one that's just going to fail under legal scrutiny, as it is unconstitutional. Because remember, NYSRPA, Bruin, and Heller, DC, McDonald, Chicago, the wording is always stated, weapons that are in common use. These semi-automatic rifles with detachable magazines and pistol grips and all the other scary things they don't like are in common use. So this is going to be another one we're going to have to watch and see where it goes. As we should be paying attention to all these cases they're coming before the courts, including the one here in Connecticut. I think it's Grant versus the state of Connecticut, but I think it's actually Malloy is actually named in it, because this is a turning point in gun rights. But as I stated, none of this addresses the root issue, which is crime, because numerous incidences of mass shootings are criminal activity. But let me know what you think. As always, you can leave your comments in the comment section below. And as always, any statements of violence, statements that lead to violence, will be removed. Please like, share, comment, subscribe. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you're notified the next time a video goes live. I will see you on the next one. Peace.